Thank you for joining this edition of News Today, a series where we briefly discuss and analyze important news of the day. Without delay, let's explore the headlines first. Legislators cannot claim immunity from prosecution for taking bribes for speech or vote in the House, said the Supreme Court. The Chief Justice of India raises concern over denial of bails in district courts. Acting development of innovative technologies with iDEX or the ADITI scheme launched under iDEX framework. Core loading process at India's first indigenous prototype fast breeder reactor commenced at Kalpakkam, Tamil Nadu. India's first National Dolphin Research Centre has been inaugurated in Patna, Bihar. Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution launches e-Kisan Upaj Nidhi. Starting with the first news for the day. Legislators cannot claim immunity from prosecution for taking bribes for speech or vote in the House, said the Supreme Court. In Sita Soren versus the Union of India, a 7-judge constitution bench of the Supreme Court overruled its 1998 judgment in the PV Narasimha Rao case. Let us first have a look at the key highlights of the judgment. It was stated that bribery is not immune as the MPs and MLAs are accused of taking bribes, cannot claim any immunity from prosecution under Article 105 and 194 of the Constitution. Article 105 Clause 2 confers on MPs immunity from prosecution in respect of anything said or any vote given by them in Parliament or on any parliamentary committee. Article 194 Clause 2 grants similar protection to the MLAs. The Supreme Court ruled that the assertion of a privilege by an individual MP or MLA would be governed by a twofold test. The privilege claimed has to be connected to collective functioning of the House. Its necessity must bear a functional relationship to the discharge of essential duties of a legislator. In context of jurisdiction of criminal court, judgment says that criminal courts are not excluded from hearing bribery cases against legislators merely because it may also be treated by the House as contempt or a breach of its privilege. Lastly, in context of scope of parliamentary privileges, Apex Court says that purpose of parliamentary privilege is to provide legislators the platform to speak and vote without fear, and it is equally applicable to the elections to the Rajya Sabha and the elections for the President and Vice President. Moving on, let us also have a look at the PV Narasimha Rao versus State case 1998. In the case, allegations had risen that legislators of Jharkhand Mukti Morcha had accepted bribes to vote in the favor of the government during the no-confidence motion in 1993. In a 3:2 majority judgment, a 5-judge Supreme Court bench held that legislators enjoy immunity from criminal prosecution for bribery as per Article 105 Clause 2 and Article 194 Clause 2 of the Constitution.
In another news, Chief Justice of India CJI raises concern over denial of bails in district courts. Before delving into the news, let's take a look at the meaning of bail. It refers to release of a person accused of or suspected of commission of an offence from the custody of law upon certain conditions imposed by an officer or court on execution by such person of a bond or a bail bond as per the Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhiti BNSS 2023. It ensures synthesis of two basic concepts of human values, namely, the right of the accused person to enjoy his personal freedom and the public interest. There are two major types of bail under BNSS. First type of bail is provided for bailable offences. The accused is given bail on certain condition under Section 478. The maximum period for which under trial prisoner can be detained is 1/2 of the maximum period of imprisonment. And the first-time offender will be given bail if detained over 1/3 of the maximum period of imprisonment. Second type of bail is for non-bailable offence. Accused person may be released on bail on certain grounds, can submit surety or bail bond under Section 480. And if one believes that he or she may be arrested on an accusation of having committed a non-bailable offence, he or she can apply for bail under Section 482. Coming back to the recent developments, CJI highlighted that growing reluctance on part of trial judges to grant bail is violating right to personal liberty provided under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. This trend is also leading to increased number of appeals reaching high courts and the Supreme Court. This trend is also undermining the long-standing principle that bail is the rule, jail is the exception given in the state of Rajasthan versus Balchand alias Balai 1978 case. The principle is based on belief that if it is ensured that the accused will be available when required for the trial stage, detaining the person is not compulsory. CGI also highlighted that adjournment culture in courts is rising. It is prolonging the agony of litigants and perpetuating the cycle of backlog.
In our next news, aiding development of innovative technologies with iDEX ADITI scheme launched under iDEX framework. Let us first discuss about the key highlights of the scheme. The scheme comes under the Ministry of Defence. Its main purpose is to develop about 30 deep tech critical and strategic technologies in the proposed time frame. This scheme has been granted up to 50% of the product development budget with a cap of Rs 25 crore. Now let us have a look at the technologies covered under the scheme. The technologies which are critically required for national security and where the country does not have existing capabilities. Moreover, these technologies shall have core defense applications and may also have an export potential. For the scheme, the industry should meet a few specific eligibility requirements. Those are: for startups to be eligible, they should be as defined and recognized by the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade or DPIIT. Other than that, any Indian company incorporated under the Companies Act 1956 or 2013, primarily an MSME as defined in the MSME Act 2006, is also eligible. Individual innovators can also register as startup or MSME. Scheme also envisages to create a technology watch tool. Technology watch tool will bridge the gap between the expectations and requirements of the modern armed forces and the capabilities of the defense innovative ecosystem. Tenure of the scheme is 2023 to 24 to 2025-26. Now at last, let us discuss about what is iDEX or Innovations for Defense Excellence. iDEX is the operational framework of the Defense Innovation Organization, which is the Section 8 of the Companies Act 2013 company. DIO is formed jointly by the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited and Bharat Electronics Limited. Additionally, iDEX DIO provides winners, startups or individuals of the Defence India Startup Challenge funding up to Rs 1.5 crores depending upon the costing of the project and matching contribution. And lastly, to motivate young innovators, iDEX was expanded to iDEX Prime with the assistance increasing from Rs 1.5 crore to Rs 10 crores.
In another news, co-loading process at India's first indigenous prototype fast breeder reactor PFBR commenced at Kalpakkam, Tamil Nadu. Co-loading is the first approach to achieve criticality, leading to generation of power from the reactor. Co-loading activity consists of loading of reactor control sub-assemblies followed by the blanket sub-assemblies and the fuel sub-assemblies. Criticality means enough neutrons are created by fission to make up for those lost by leakage or absorption so that fission remains constant. Operationalization of the PFBR 500 MW electric will mark the start of the stage 2 of India's 3-stage nuclear power program. This is constructed by Bharatiya Nabhikiya Vidyut Nigam Limited, Bhavini, along with others. Homi Bhabha envisioned India's 3-stage nuclear program to suit the country's low uranium resource profile. Let's briefly discuss about 3-stage nuclear program. Program's first stage uses heavy water reactors fueled by natural uranium-produced plutonium. Its second stage relies on plutonium-fueled fast breeders which uses uranium-plutonium mixed oxide MOX fuel. Program stage 3 uses uranium-233 fueled breeders. These breeders use mix of thorium and uranium to fuel the reactors. Thorium transmutes to U-233 which powers the reactors. Now let's learn about PFBR, Prototype Fast Breeder Reactor. It is an advanced third-generation nuclear reactor designed to produce more fissile material, plutonium-239, than it consumes. It will initially use uranium-plutonium mixed oxide MOX fuel. In it, uranium-238 will undergo nuclear transmutation to produce more fuel, thus called a breeder. Transmutation is conversion of one chemical element into another, and thorium can also be used as it transmutes into uranium-233. PFBR utilizes liquid sodium as a coolant, and the key benefit is that it has inherent passive safety features, ensuring a prompt and safe shutdown of the plant in emergency. Once commissioned, India will only be the second country after Russia to have commercial operating PFBR.
In our next news, India's first National Dolphin Research Centre has been inaugurated in Patna, Bihar. The National Dolphin Research Centre is a first of its kind in Asia, which will further serve as a gathering point for scientists and researchers dedicated to the study of gangetic dolphins. It would further boost the conservation efforts for river dolphins. Let us first start by getting to know about the Gangetic dolphins. The Gangetic dolphin is India's national aquatic animal. It is one of the freshwater dolphin species in the world. These dolphins can be found in Ganges, Brahmaputra, Meghna and Karnafuli Sangu river systems of Nepal, India and Bangladesh. Currently, their protection status according to the International Union for Conservation of Nature is endangered. They are included in Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act 1972. The species is also included in Appendix 1 of Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species. Now let us get to know about the key features of the Gangetic dolphins. It is locally known as susu, which refers to the noise the dolphin is said to make when it breathes. They are blind and they hunt with the help of the echolocation. They emit ultrasonic sound which bounces off a fish and other prey, enabling them to see an image in their mind. They are frequently found alone or in small groups, and generally a mother and calf travel together. In terms of physical features, the females are larger than males and give birth once every 2 or 3 years to only one calf. For the conservation of dolphins, various initiatives have also been taken, such as the Project Dolphin in 2021. Additionally, its habitat has been notified as protected areas such as the Vikramshila Dolphin Sanctuary in Bihar. 5th October has also been declared the National Dolphin Day. The Comprehensive Action Plan 2022-2047 has also been developed to ensure the well-being of the river dolphin and aquatic habitats. And lastly, Global Declaration for River Dolphins.
In another news, Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution launches e-Kisan Upaj Nidhi. e-Kisan Upaj Nidhi is a digital gateway initiative of Warehousing Development and Regulatory Authority WDRA. It aims to facilitate farmers in obtaining post-harvest loans from banks against their stocks stored in the WDRA registered warehouses. The loans are provided against electronic negotiable warehouse receipts. Warehouse receipts are an acknowledgement in writing or an electronic form issued by a warehouseman or his authorized representative of the receipt for storage of goods not owned by the warehouseman. E-NWRs were launched in 2017 by the WDRA. Now let's understand more about the Warehousing Development and Regulatory Authority, WDRA. It was established in 2010 under the WDRA Act 2007. The mission of the authority is to establish a negotiable warehouse receipt (NWR) system for all commodities through a network of registered warehouses, making the NWR a prime tool of trade and facilitate finance against it, and enable banks to enhance lending portfolio quality and interest in lending against goods deposited in registered warehouses. WDRA Negotiable Warehouse Receipts Regulations 2011 lays down the rules for NWRs, including terms of standardization, issuance, surrender, and more. Food Corporation of India (FCI), National Agriculture Cooperative Marketing Federation of India Limited (NAFED), and National Horticulture Board have issued guidelines that central pool stock should be kept in WDRA registered warehouses. In today's Place in News, we will discuss Mexico with its capital, Mexico City. As per reports, the Mexico City is running toward Day Zero scenario. In Day Zero scenario, water is only available for vital services. Let's discuss its political features. It is located in southern North America and shares borders with the United States, Belize, and Guatemala. It is surrounded by water bodies like the Caribbean Sea and the Gulf of Mexico and Pacific Ocean. In terms of geographical features, it is a part of Circum-Pacific Ring of Fire, a region of active volcanism and frequent seismic activity. Its highest peak is Volcan Pico de Orizaba, and major rivers include Rio Grande River and Colorado River. It is also home to Sonoran Desert.
As we conclude today's main news, let's take a look at some quick updates. Supreme Court said that the Article 32 cannot be a remedy after a person has abused fundamental rights under Article 19 Clause 1A and Article 25. The Article 19 Clause 1A grants the right to freedom of speech and expression, and Article 25 grants freedom of conscience and free profession, practice and propagation of religion. Article 32 of Constitution gives an extensive original jurisdiction to Supreme Court in regard to enforcement of fundamental rights. The Election Commission of India has notified a scheme for internally displaced persons of Manipur to cast vote at relief camps in upcoming elections. The scheme will further facilitate voting facilities to the people who were displaced from their native places. Internally displaced persons or IDPs are those who are forced to leave their homes due to armed conflict, violence and human rights violation or disasters without crossing international borders. The Union Minister of Steel inaugurated India's first green hydrogen plant in the stainless steel sector. It will further pave the way for sustainable steel production. The green hydrogen plant will be the world's first off-grid green hydrogen plant for the stainless steel industry. It is also the world's first green hydrogen plant with rooftop and floating solar. The diners at Gurgaon Eatery have been hospitalized after mistakenly being served dry ice. Dry ice is a common name for solid carbon dioxide or CO2. It gets this name because it does not melt into a liquid when heated. Instead, it changes directly into a gas because of a process known as sublimation. It is manufactured by compressing and cooling gaseous CO2. Infrastructure facilities of Project Seabird Phase 2A will soon be inaugurated. The Project Seabird was initiated by the Indian Navy in 1986 to undertake planning for establishment of the third major naval base at Karwar, Karnataka. Phase 1 of the project was designed to accommodate 10 ships, concluded in 2011. Moreover, Phase 2A of project focuses on constructing infrastructure that comply with guidelines of Indian Green Building Council and MOE-FCC. The coal production in India has grown from 382.62 million tons in 2004-05 to 893.19 million tons in 2022-23 and is all set to touch 1,000 million tons in the year 2023-24. Coal India Limited contributes to over 80% of the country's indigenous coal production and supply. Under the current system, the public sector coal companies, including CIL, supply coal to the power sector at notified prices. The 7th Gas Exporting Countries Forum or GECF summit has been concluded with the adoption of Algiers Declaration. The declaration aims to promote natural gas as an affordable, reliable energy source and harness sustainable natural gas technologies. Headquartered in Doha, Qatar, GECF is an intergovernmental organization consisting of the world's leading gas exporting countries. It seeks to build a mechanism for a meaningful dialogue between gas producers and consumers to improve the stability of gas markets around the world. Recently, the Prime Minister has laid the foundation stone of Kulasekarapattinam Spaceport in Toothukudi district of Tamil Nadu. The spaceport will be used to launch the Small Satellite Launch Vehicles or SSLVs. It has several advantages in comparison to Sriharikota facility in Andhra Pradesh, such as its location, as it is located more close to the equator and will save fuel, and moreover, the rockets can now head straight in the southern direction. Lastly, it is nearby ISRO's Propulsion Research Complex location, making it easier to transport the rocket components safely and in a shorter period. Before we go, it's time to put your knowledge to test in today's segment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you have enjoyed this edition of News Today. To get the answers to today's quiz and to download the PDF of News Today, make sure to check out the links in the description below.